Good evening and welcome to this week's special presentation titled Polishing Your Gold Entries and Exits. My name is Ryan, Senior Instructor here at VectorVest, and it is my pleasure giving you this week's presentation on a very important topic that many investors have already utilized to hedge this volatile market or are considering doing so but may have some hesitation at all-time highs. Throughout history, gold has always been seen as a safe haven asset, so no surprise we're seeing a rise in demand as geopolitical tensions persist in 2025. This scenario has caused investors to take a more risk-off approach during these market conditions. If you are hedging your portfolio or plan to buy gold positions during this rally, I do want to break down that there is a difference between gold miners and that of ETFs, which have a direct correlation to gold. Gold miners typically are subject to more volatility due to market conditions. These companies can also be involved in other precious metals other than just gold. A good example, Harmony Gold, which has been a top VST stock, and many of you may already be familiar with. Now, we do have gold miner ETFs, which is simply just a collection of gold miner stocks. And many of these ETFs can be leveraged 2 to 3 times, increasing the volatility of price action and may not be suitable for all investors. Now, a great example is Van Eck Gold Miners or GDX, and a very popular leverage ETF is JNUG, which is that of the junior gold miners and is 2 times leverage. While spot or commodity ETFs is simply an entity or trust with a direct exposure to physical gold bullion, allowing the ETF to have a direct correlation to gold and is typically less volatile. A perfect example of this is GLD or Spider Gold shares. In order to stay on the right side of the trend and properly time your entries and exits, when it comes to gold strategies in general, here at VectorVest, we utilize the ARCA Gold Bugs Index, better known as the Huey. In addition to that, we do utilize our Midas Touch layout. If you're not familiar, it does consist of 2 moving averages of our stop price, a 10 and 65-day moving average of price. And down below, we do have a 40-day moving average of relative timing to simply give us a sense of trend. Historically, this method has been very successful. We can see on one of the most recent examples here, back on March 28th, 2024, the 10-day moving average of stop being above the 65-day moving average, and on that day, RT relative timing finally made itself into positive territory, letting our subscribers know that the short-term trend tracked by RT is now in favor of the bulls. This rally lasting quite some time until the end of 2024, giving a lot of room for the bulls to run. You can see that 10-day remained above that 65-day moving average during that time period. In addition, RT relative timing also remained above 1. Now, the rally did come to an end. The early warning signal is when the 10-day crossed below the 65-day moving average of stop around November 2024. In addition, followed by the RT going into negative territory by December 2024, becoming unfavorable and simply letting us know that the bears are taking charge. Now, this most recent example, we do see that the 10-day crossed above the 65-day moving average of price in the beginning of February, followed shortly after on the 14th of February with RT relative timing going above 1 in favorable territory, giving us the signal that it's time to be bullish on gold. Since then, gold rallying to new highs. You can see the Gold Bugs Index hitting an all-time high at $414.83. Now, the question on everybody's mind is, when will this gold rally end? If we look at the most recent example here, there's one proprietary indicator giving us a sense that that bullish trend could be coming to an end. If I utilize a freehand line, we could see price action of the Huey Gold Bug Index continuing to climb. However, during that same time period, RT relative timing creating a bearish divergence, just giving a heads up and to be cautious of a downtrend. And as of right now, we're seeing RT relative timing continuing to climb at 1.63. If we compare that to yesterday, RT relative timing at 1.63 as well. But it did surpass the prior swing high when relative timing was at 1.43, letting us know that this momentum in gold has yet to wane. So looking out for a possible bearish divergence into the future could provide some insight and a warning on when to take profits. This method is very simple to be utilized to keep traders and investors on the right side of the gold trade. Now that we know the trend is in favor of the bulls, let's check out some potential candidates. So let's make our way over to the stock viewer. Here we have the stock viewer. Currently we're tracking 9,500 41 different companies and ETFs in the VectorVest database. That being said, do you notice a pattern here? Look at the industry. All of these companies are in the mining sector, and more specifically in the gold and silver industry. So you can see the momentum with these positions here. It is a down day today, so if you are thinking about purchasing gold and you haven't done so already, taking your time and slowly building your position is never a bad idea. As most of our subscribers know, to see all top 10 stocks in the viewer section to be related to gold and silver is a rare phenomenon. So let's dive into the industry itself. I'm just simply right click, go to view stocks and industry group. And this is where you can see some of the top performing mining companies as of now. In this industry, there are 204 stocks found. Currently, we're just looking at the top 10. Just some things I noticed right off the back. If we take a look at RV, relative value, all of these stocks have great long-term price appreciation potential. For the most part, RRS, or the safety ratings, are favorable other than Idaho and IM Gold. But if we look at the RTs, or relative timing, this looks at the magnitude of the short-term price trend. A lot of momentum behind these stocks. And the lowest rated stock here, AEM, coming in at 1.59. All of these stocks have been showing momentum to the upside. Definitely a little bit of a breather, so I wouldn't recommend buying on a down day. But if we see momentum continue into next week, this might just be a space of the market you want to take advantage of. Let's graph these positions. First up will be Orla Mining. You can tell right here, utilizing the Midas Touch layout, the 10-day being above the 65-day moving average, giving us a sense of upward trend occurring last year and has remained in that upward trend for quite some time here. Even the RT relative timing going into positive territory as early as September 2024. The price of the stock was just $4 in. Now it's trading at $11.11 with a lot of momentum to the upside over the last 2 trading weeks. Now, if you're looking for confirmation on this position to go further, if you notice here, the last RT swing high was at 1.74. We are currently at that level right now at 1.74. So I'd like to see RT hit a new high, showing that this upside momentum is not beginning to wane. If you are currently in this position, you can look for the RT to roll over potentially to show that the bulls are starting to lose control. Or just keep utilizing the 10 and 65-day moving average of our stop price, which was able to keep you within the trade. As you see the pullback back in November 2024, those moving averages remained bullish and was off to the races shortly after. The next position, AU or Anglo Gold, we got the trend in our favor back on the 31st of January earlier this year, with the RT relative timing becoming in our favor. Back on February 14th, if we remember, that's exactly when the Huey showed the same optimism in the preliminary buy signal utilizing the Midas Touch layout. Just like the last position, the high coming in as of yesterday, with gold taking a breather today. If we look at RT relative timing, comes in at 1.6. That is higher than the prior swing high at 1.58. Still showing optimism to be bullish on this position. As I continue to scroll down, here is DR Gold. Again, RT relative timing hitting new highs, while the price action taking a breather today with the gap down and a bodied candlestick to the bottom, coming in at $16.59. However, the trend is still in our favor, so one day does not make a trend, and with the momentum still on the climb, and with the momentum tracked by RT still gaining and coming in at 1.72, the momentum is to the upside. Here we have Kinross Gold. This has been a very popular amongst the VectorVest community. Again, hitting that high as of yesterday. Nice strong buy ratings here. If we utilize the Midas Touch layout, back on January 8th, the 10-day did cross above the 65-day, letting you know to put this position on your radar, and the trigger given by RT relative timing finally becoming favorable above 1 back on the 7th of February at 1.02. And with RT relative timing continuing to climb, hitting a new 3-month high here at 1.44. This is definitely a gold stock to put on your radar. Here is Idaho Strategic. We do have this one in positive territory and hit a new high as of today. The buy rating coming in, RT relative timing continuing to push higher, coming in at 1.41. If we notice, the trend became favorable on the 25th of March with the 10-day above the 65-day, and RT at that point was in positive territory. When it comes to IM Gold, the 10-day and 65-day moving average of price has been a great tool to utilize for this position here. You can see no negative crossover here. The 10-day has remained above the 65-day moving average of stop for the last 12 months. And now with RT climbing back into positive territory since the beginning of the year, and RT hitting a new swing high over the last 3 months at 1.25, this position is still showing momentum to the upside. Here we have Eagle Mines. The 10 to 65-day moving average would have kept you in this position for the most part. You do see a little bit of a trough here, giving you some warning of that downside potential. However, it was shortly lived, and RT relative timing went back into favorable territory by the 7th of February, with the moving averages in our favor. That would have been our buy signal. With the close coming in around $98, this position is up over 20% right now at 120.41. And the RT relative timing not slowing down at all, also hitting a new high here over the last few months at 1.5. Here's Alamos Gold. Again, the Midas touch doing a great job of getting you in these positions early into the rally here. This would have been around February 4th. We got the trend, the trigger coming in on the 12th of February, just 2 days before the Huey went positive when it comes to the Midas touch. This early entry would have got you in around $22, currently trading around $29.52. And we see the RT relative timing continuing to climb here, showing that momentum not waning, currently at 1.59. Now for the last gold miner stock, this went positive very early into the rally, back on the 3rd of February, with RT relative timing coming into play. Just after the Huey went positive, back on the 18th of February, still getting you in early. The close that day was around $19, currently trading almost $24, even with the breather today. So a lot of upside potential there. The trend of the 10-day and 65-day still gaining momentum to the upside. Now, if we take a look at the RT relative timing, it is starting to wane a little bit here. We see it at 1.69. Let's take a look, see if it hit a new high, which it was not. Still sitting at 1.69. So in order for me to get some confirmation here, I'd like to see RT relative timing get above this level, showing me that there's still some optimism coming from the bulls. All right, everybody. I hope this information was insightful and you found it informative to keep you on the right side of the gold trade. And before I go, I just want to mention that Glenn and I will be hosting an exclusive event May 1st in Charlotte, North Carolina. The event during the day is free to attend and will give you exclusive access to Glenn and I, as well in-person attendance to our live streams that day, being Power Hour and Trending Thursday. After that day's presentation, the evening will consist of a VIP experience where we're partnering with Jarvis Vineyards out of Napa Valley, and we'll have our very own sommelier to do a wine tasting with Glenn and I that evening. And in addition, we will make our way over to one of Charlotte's finest rooftop restaurants, being Fahrenheit, for a lovely evening and a chance for you to pick our brains and give you some personal insight on the markets going forward. Now, if that's an event you would like to attend, just go to VectorVest.com/roadshow to check out the details and to register. The VIP event is limited, but there are a couple spots available, so be sure to register before the event sells out. Now, again, my name is Ryan. It's a pleasure giving you this week's special presentation. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. And if you have any questions that we covered this evening, please do not hesitate to give support a call. Good night.